One of the things I was kind of looking forward to tonight was seeing how different drummers take the same question, essentially, if you know what I mean. And it always comes out as a kind of a different answer, if you know what I'm saying. I kind of was saying basically that with drumming, you're either playing a flam, you're playing a double, or you're playing a single. And that's all it is. Like everything you've ever heard is that, you know, in different combinations or whatever. And everything can be broken down to just a series of notes, which would lead you to believe that a little goes a long way, basically, right? I saw a documentary by George Martin once. George Martin was I'm sure people know George Martin, right? He was the guy who produced all the Beatles records. And he did this documentary about music. And he broke it up as rhythm, melody, and harmony. And he started with rhythm, obviously. And he was going, right, first of all, he asked the question, what is music? Where did music come from? And it's believed that men were trying to kind of copy the sounds that they were hearing around them, right? So it's thought, say, that rhythm started. In Africa, you know, there's trees that have to kind of they have to hold water during dry seasons, right? So between, you know, the bark and the foot of the tree, there's water. So during the year, water will kind of filter down. If you heard a rain stick, you know, that kind of percussive instrument, right? Kind of like that, you know what I mean? The water kind of gets trapped in the veins of the tree and trickles down. So what you hear is kind of a clicking noise, you know? So you might hear, same way if you're on a train, and if you're sort of anyway rhythmically inclined, you will hear a rhythm in the tracks of the train, even though the train isn't doing it on purpose, if you know what I mean. It's kind of happening and you're kind of interpreting it, right? So it's thought that there was some fella in Africa, maybe drunk, who knows, like, who heard this kind of tapping thing, and he heard a logic and he heard a kind of a rhythm in it, right? And there was a rhythm there that kind of was playing the clave. The clave originated in Africa, right? Not as it is now, not as it's played in pure music, but it's slightly similar. So it would be kind of like this. I mean, the clave is kind of... But if you kind of jazz that up a bit, it could be like... You know, it's kind of intervals or whatever. So it's thought that there was a fella sitting beside a tree, heard this rain kind of water in the tree filtering down and making these kind of clicking noises, and he kind of interpreted that as rhythm, and music kind of grew from that. So essentially, it comes from nothing, if you know what I mean, and you know, it comes from it starts as like a tiny little stream and becomes a massive raging river. Now, when I started playing, I kind of started playing quite late. I didn't start playing until I was about 17. I was very aware that I had to play catch up, you know. So I was always looking for a way of finding something simple and playing that. You know what I mean? The simplest way to do something was the way I wanted to approach things. You know, to save myself the hard work more than anything. You know. And when I started listening to drummers, then I heard this kind of same sort of idea that a little bit goes a long way. You know. Now, I'll kind of explain this now. I'll try and demonstrate it. Connor was playing a paradiddle there. Now, this is just, I suppose, a notion of how one pattern gets interpreted by loads of different drummers and using loads of different types of music. And each and every time it becomes like a different thing, but it's essentially the same series of notes. Right, so paradiddle, for those who don't know, is right, left, right, right, left, right, left. Right, so it's a drum rhythm, and it's designed, or not designed, but it's there to sort of help you build coordination and to, you know, both phrasing-wise, you know, so you get used to how music kind of fits together, and also technique-wise, right? So of itself, the paradiddle doesn't sound particularly useful, or colourful, or melodic, right? Right? That doesn't doesn't sound particular. I mean, you're not going to dance to that. You're not going to. That's not going to sort of excite you in any way, you know. But it becomes exciting when you hear how various different drummers take something as simple as that and turn it into music, right? Now, the first time this notion occurred to me was a friend of mine was showing me an exercise to kind of build coordination. I have to take I was playing somewhere last night, my favourite drumming shoes. Anybody who plays drums knows that you have one pair of shoes that just feels so good, you kind of forget you're wearing them, and they're, you know, the most comfortable thing you have to play. And I forgot mine last night, so I'm going to have to play them with socks. So I've worn that's just the one in the front row, right, in case there's any wafts of badness out in your direction. So he taught me this this exercise, fairly simple, but requires a sort of a degree of coordination. Because he was trying to get me to kind of get into Latin playing and stuff like that. And he said this is a way to kind of build the coordination, right? Basically, it's when I was just starting out to play drums, I too went to Johnny Wadham. And what Johnny would do is he had a massive record collection in his house, massive, all vinyl, of every type of record. So he would pick a record that he thought you were up to playing, and he'd give it to you, and he'd give you sort of the dots of it or whatever, and he'd get you to play along with it. Now he wasn't into hearing you playing exactly as the drummer on the record is playing it, because these guys are, you know, the greats, you know. But he wanted to just kind of get you to understand the feel of it, you know what I mean? Maybe to make sure that you're playing, you know, when it's a chorus, that you're playing what, you know, the chorus beat, verse you're changing, and so on. And there was a tune by a drummer called Steve Gadd. Does anybody know Steve Gadd? He's a fabulous, fabulous drummer. It was kind of, it baffled me for ages, because it kind of went something like this. It was like, now I was just baffled when I heard that first, because he's playing this da-da, 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 da-da with his foot. And then he's playing this other sort of melodic thing over the top, and it's like, how the hell is he doing that? And then when I heard this paradiddle thing, I was going, that's what he's doing, right? So that's one guy who took the paradiddle. Just, all he's doing is, rather than playing it all on the snare, same thing, but he's just orchestrating it is the phrase, right? So I went, wow, okay, that's how he's taken something fairly simple that I know, and he's put it onto a drum kit, expanded it, and rather than it being just a series of boring, not very colourful notes, he's made it come alive in a drum kit. Obviously more, you know, alive than I've made it come there. So that's one guy. So I was going, right, that's fascinating, right? And what I mean about a little going a long way, the more I started listening, the more I heard this particular drummer, Steve Gadd, using the paradiddle to kind of liven up what he was playing. Like there's a famous, I'm not sure what song this is from, but he kind of slips it into a kind of a regular 8-note groove, right? So he's going.